come the lights.
Comes and then touch! Verstappen is out of the race and that's a big crash! Fuck. And a big fire there as they exited out of turn 3.
Tagged.
Oh, off the road in the background goes Nick de Vries.
Monza 2020. An unlikely victory. Monza 2020. The Temple of Speed. In a season full of twists, no one expected a midfield team to conquer Formula One's fastest track. But on this bizarre afternoon in Italy, an unlikely hero emerged. After a red flag and a penalty to Lewis Hamilton, 24-year-old Pierre Gasly found himself leading an Italian Grand Prix in an AlphaTauri, a scenario so absurd that even Gasly couldn't believe it. Honestly, it's unbelievable. It was such a crazy race. I have no words, Gasly exclaimed, shaking with emotion after clenching his maiden win.
Comment, it's my first F1 win is unbelievable.
Sat alone atop the podium, the reality sank in. For the first time in 24 years, a French driver had won a Grand Prix. The paddock watched in awe as Gasly, once dropped by Red Bull's top team, redeemed himself in storybook fashion. His radio crackled with joy. Allez, we did it!
Oh my God, guys, we did it again!
A triumphant cry that symbolized one of the most shocking upsets in recent F1 memory. It was the feel-good surprise that kicked off our list, and the shocks would only grow from here. Sakir 2020, last to first. Fast forward to December 2020. Under the lights of Bahrain's outer circuit, chaos reigned in the Sakir Grand Prix. On the first lap, Ferrari's Charles Leclerc and Red Bull's Max Verstappen tangled out, and Sergio Checo Perez was punted into the gravel.
Yeah, I got hit there. Nothing.
Okay, Checo, box.
He pitted and fell to last place by lap 1. It looked like another lost cause, but Checo refused to give up. In an extraordinary comeback, he sliced through the field with blistering pace, capitalizing on every twist of fate. And fate delivered big. Mercedes, dominating up front with young substitute George Russell, botched a pit stop by fitting the wrong tires to Russell's car, then suffered a puncture. In a stunning turn, the mighty Mercedes tripped over themselves, and Perez inherited the lead. After 190 race starts and a decade of trying, the Mexican driver found himself on the brink of victory. I'm a bit speechless. I hope I'm not dreaming. 10 years it took me, Perez said, voice trembling. As he crossed the line P1, Checo broke down in tears over the radio.
I'm speechless, guys. Good job, guys.
A man who had once faced a career with no seat secured his first ever win. Meanwhile, heartbroken Russell, who had led most of the race, radioed in disbelief that his maiden win was taken away twice. The race was a wild roller coaster. From last on lap 1 to first at the finish, Perez's triumph proved that in F1, nothing is impossible on a wild day. And incredibly, this was just a prelude of craziness to come. Silverstone 2021, title rivals collide. Silverstone, the birthplace of Formula One, became the stage for an explosive confrontation in July 2021. On the very first lap, championship protagonists Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen went wheel-to-wheel in a duel of egos and skill. Approaching the high-speed Copse corner at L180 Maurice Bar, neither driver backed down. What happened next is burned into the memory of every F1 fan.
Maxi, okay?
Fuck.
Hamilton's front wheel tagged Verstappen's rear, and the Red Bull was sent hurtling off the track in a 51G impact. Verstappen's car demolished the barrier, the force so great it briefly knocked the wind out of him. The crowd fell silent as Max climbed out, visibly shaken. Red Bull team boss Christian Horner was livid, calling it a huge risk by Lewis. The move was never on, and 51G, an impact force rarely seen, underscored how lucky Max was to walk away without serious injury. The race was red flagged, and as Max was taken to hospital for precautionary scans, an intense blame game erupted. Hamilton received a 10-second penalty for causing the collision, yet incredibly, he still fought back to win the race in front of his home crowd. That victory celebration did not sit well with Red Bull. Verstappen, watching from the hospital, blasted the podium antics as really disrespectful when one guy's in the hospital. The normally cool Toto Wolff and fiery Horner exchanged barbs in the media as the controversy raged. It was a turning point of the 2021 season. The championship battle had become deeply personal. A 51G crash at one of the fastest corners in the world, a victory under protest, and a war of words off track Silverstone 2021 was as shocking as they come. It proved that when title rivals refuse to yield, sparks and carbon fiber will fly. Melbourne 2023. Red flags and mayhem. The 2023 Australian Grand Prix felt like racing inside a pinball machine, an unpredictably wild affair that left even seasoned commentators stunned. The race had already seen 2 red flags for crashes, one when Alex Albon spun out early, and another when Kevin Magnussen's tire exploded off his Haas rim, sending rubber shrapnel across the track. Each restart had fans on edge, but nobody could anticipate the bedlam that unfolded at the third standing restart with just 2 laps to go. As the lights went out, all hell broke loose. Sainz tapped Alonso into a spin at turn 1. The Alpine duo of Gasly and Ocon tangled and double DNF'd in a spectacular team implosion. Nick de Vries and Logan Sargent ended up in the gravel. It was a multi-car demolition in a matter of seconds. "Carnage at the restart!" the commentator yelled as cars limped and dust settled. The race director immediately threw yet another red flag, the third of the day, something virtually unheard of. In the confusion, teams and fans wondered, what now? Ultimately, since not even a sector was completed before the crash, the FIA reverted the running order to the prior restart grid minus the cars taken out. Alonso got his place in third back, despite having been spun, while others like Gasly lost a sure points finish due to the crash. Amidst this, Carlos Sainz received a harsh 5-second time penalty for causing the collision with Alonso, a penalty that, given the race would end under safety car, would drop him from 4th to 12th out of the points. Upon hearing this, Sainz broke into an emotional plea over team radio.
No, it cannot be, Ricky. Do I deserve to be out of the points? No. No, yeah. It's unacceptable.
"No, it cannot be, Ricky. Do I deserve to be out of the points? No, no, no," he shouted to his engineer. "It's unacceptable. They need to wait and discuss with me. Please, 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 ask them to wait." Sainz was almost in tears, begging the stewards to reconsider what he called the most unfair penalty I've seen in my life. But there was no overturning it that day. The Ferrari driver sat devastated, head in hands, during the agonizing formation lap that closed out the race. The Melbourne crowd witnessed absolute scenes. 3 red flags, a new F1 record, debris flying, teammates crashing into each other, and raw human emotion on the airwaves. A race that began under bright Australian sunshine descended into anything but a relaxed Sunday drive. It was chaos with a capital C, the kind of unpredictable drama that left everyone asking, what did we just see? For a race that traditionally is no stranger to safety cars, 2023 took it to another level, reaffirming that in F1, even the final laps can erupt into insanity. Bahrain 2020. Miracle in the fire. Our final and most jaw-dropping moment is not a championship battle or a crazy finish. It's the moment Formula One stared tragedy in the face and fate blinked. The 2020 Bahrain Grand Prix gave us an image straight out of our worst nightmares. Romain Grosjean's car split in half and swallowed by an inferno. On the race's opening lap, Grosjean's Haas was clipped and hurtled towards the guardrail at over 220 km/h. In an instant, the car pierced the steel barrier and burst into a giant fireball, 140 liters of fuel igniting in a flash. For a moment, everyone feared the worst. Such an impact and blaze hadn't been seen in decades. The race was immediately red flagged. Marshals and the FIA medical car, which luckily arrives on scene almost instantly on opening laps, raced toward the flames. What happened over the next 28 seconds defied belief. Inside that inferno, Grosjean was alive, conscious, and fighting to escape. Later, he would recount those harrowing moments in vivid detail. "When the car came to a stop, I opened my eyes. I saw fire. I thought, I'm going to die. I was at peace with it. Then I thought about my kids and said, no, they cannot lose their dad today." With adrenaline-fueled determination, Grosjean undid his harness, struggled against jammed debris, and clawed his way out of the blaze. "I put my hands in the fire and pulled myself up," he said, literally walking through flames. To the astonishment of all, Romain suddenly leapt out of the fire, vaulting the barrier with the help of medic Dr. Ian Roberts. His racing boot had been ripped off. His gloves were melting. The doctor and marshals smothered the fire on his suit, and Grosjean was rushed into the medical car, suffering burns on his hands but miraculously little else. The world watched in absolute awe and relief as replays confirmed what felt like a scene from a movie. The Haas chassis had skewered the barrier, splitting in two, something virtually unheard of in modern F1, and the Halo device had taken the blow, very likely saving Grosjean's life by preventing his head from striking the barrier. As he recovered in hospital with bandaged hands, Grosjean was already joking, calling himself the man who walked out of fire. But he was also emotional, aware of the miracle he experienced. It was 28 seconds, but it felt much longer, he said. I thought of Niki Lauda's accident. I thought it couldn't end like this. I had to get out for my family. The Bahrain crash was the most frightening F1 moment of recent years. Yet it ended in a remarkable triumph of human will and modern safety. The halo, the survival cell, the immediate response, everything worked in unison to turn what should have been a fatal accident into a story of survival. Seasoned commentators, drivers, and fans were in tears and disbelief. It was the day Grosjean was reborn from fire. If ever there was a jaw-dropping, miraculous moment in Formula One, this was it. As Grosjean later quipped, "It's like I used up one of my lives, but I'm just happy I'm still here." And so are we, Romain. So are we. These weren't just wild moments on the track. They were defining seconds in motorsport history. Moments that made us shout, gasp, and stare at the screen, questioning what we just saw. And the craziest part? Formula racing never stops delivering. So if you think we've seen it all, just wait for the next race. Hit that subscribe button, because you won't want to miss what's coming next.